And what's your number?
Right now we're at 75.
Okay. And just heel and turn off that way.
What's too fast? This is long.
The leash is wrapped around, keep going, tap. The leash is wrapped around his leg, so he keeps like just wobbling.
Woo!
Whoa, tree branch, sorry.
You're right, I didn't actually hit it.
That happened to the other day, nicked me pretty good.
You wanna go on the other side?
Oh yeah, sorry. So here, tap forward, there you go. And I'll show you what's going on with his leg here. Once we get past these little trees. And you can slow the stop. There we go. So his hind leg there. You see how wrapped it is?
Oh yeah.
So the reason why I was like, just leave it as is because it's a distraction.
Right.
So no matter what's going on, even like most people, they see that they right away undo the dog, which I understand. But like at this phase of like proofing things,
Yeah.
I let it happen because it's like, hey, when I tell you to
hurting
heel,
him.
exactly. When I tell you to heel, no matter what's going on or like what the hell is this going on here, right? It's like what I said is more important.
Yeah.
And it's a tiny little distraction, but those are the things that you're going to be working through, you know, when you need your obedience to be actually functional.
Yeah.
So go ahead and fill me in on this week and just practice and what you were supposed to do and what you were doing.
Yeah, we went to the lake, which apparently was closed, but whatever. And we had him off for like a little bit. There were other dogs there, so he was running around back and forth with them. And like when I feel it's like the whole group got to him, I would call him back, and he would come. So just practicing with that, staying like where he was, healing, all of that. And then we went to Chase's parents again, so again, that no offense scenario.
Sure. And was he on leash or off leash? No offense.
Off.
He was completely off.
Yeah.
Okay, but he was geared up.
Yes.
Okay. And how did he?
He honestly doesn't really leave the vicinity of me. And then one time he did, and I saw a bunny. I saw the bunny. I don't think he did. Okay. So I called him back, and he came right away.
Sure.
Quickly. So.
Okay. So right now,
Okay,
if you look at him,
attention.
yes, and he's shaking and stuff.
Yes.
Right? So go ahead and just give a tap here, okay? Don't say just tap. There you go. Okay. So what I'm testing for here is if I tap him while he's under command and you're at 75, right? Is what does he do in response? So he's still like kind of keen, especially on over there. There's a bunch of squirrels, but he is a little bit less shaky now. Now he's starting to build up again.
Yeah.
But he redirected to this way. Okay. So right now, because you're facing this way, like this is where your attention is at, right? But he was like this. Okay. He was taking in all of this space here, and then you remoted him, and essentially you said, "This part you don't worry about. We're facing this way."
This way.
Okay. So I don't care about him looking at squirrels, right? But definitely, the more inclined he is, like right here. Yeah. There you go. And then tap. Back to the sitting position. And this is all no words. Okay. So you're really just fine-tuning.
Just Greg's.
I know. You're really fine-tuning just the rules here. And I'm seeing, will you go back to task at hand? So first tap, you dissuade them from looking that way. Because this way, that was good. But then a couple minutes goes by, he goes back to looking and goes, nope, don't worry about it, right?
Yeah.
Then you redirect it this way, but then he laid down. So he went an extra step.
Yeah.
Because he's thinking, well, how settled do I have to be?
Right.
I go, well, you're in heel, so you don't sit down, you sit, right? So then he corrects himself, and then he goes back into this kind of very low stress yawn, low scouting state here. But his ears are more relaxed now.
Yeah. But he's still, that shake, he's always, like, I see that a lot. I don't know if that's his breed.
No, it's because he's contained. It's not so much breed, it's he's conflicted because he wants to chase them, but he knows.
He was doing it in the car before I let him out of the car.
Sure, because he know, like he's created association, like he knows what's here, right?
Yeah.
So the shaking isn't bad. It's not like it's stress
just him
shaking.
controlling him.
Yes, it's the
His
you know
instinct to just go.
exactly because his prey drive and his breed and his the fact that he's a dog, which is like squirrel, and but I know I can't move,
Yeah.
so then he's conflicted and you get the shaking, right? So the shaking in itself may go on its own. The more you expose him, where he's like, all right, cool, like sure I'm not going to chase the squirrel now because I'm under command,
Yeah.
but mom might let me, right? So then he gets that balance. But in the beginning, when you're at this stage, the shaking is perfectly.
And I also think I'm seeing it a lot today because he's been home. So it's not like he's been busy.
Yeah, you're talking about like just pensive energy and
Yeah.
stuff. Sure. So questions about that stuff? And I'm really looking at his ears. That left one looks his left looks a little broken.
This one?
No, this one
Oh.
because of how far back it is.
Oh.
There it is. Now it looks normal. Yeah. So here, great place to practice. If we know we have all these squirrels. Now, when you're in an environment like this, okay, there's two parts. There's Walter and what he's been conditioned to do and not do, and then there is you as his handler. Okay. Now, most people's thought process is, I've trained my dogs should know better.
Right.
Okay? I don't like the phrase know better. Okay? Humans know better. I know it's bad to pollute because it's global warming and all that stuff, right? I know it's bad to run a red light because it's the law and I'll get a ticket. I know that stuff, right? Walter doesn't really know this stuff, like morally, like what's correct or incorrect. He just has associated, well, if I break off prematurely, remote happens. If I lay down from this position, remote happens, right? So he's making decisions based on that, not so much on the fact of like, if the owner taught the dog, like, chasing squirrels is wrong. It's morally wrong with that, right? So you as his handler, the expectation is, I know I've done all this work with Walter, and I know I've done it with remote, so I'm going to have a very good level of control, and he's going to have a very high level of business control. But at the end of the day, he's still a dog. Okay? So when you're here, like right now, like I'm talking to you, but I'm also like watching Walter on my peripheral, and whenever he looks and stuff, like I'm looking where he's looking, and I'm watching his demeanor, because that can change from like slightly interested to very interested, and that's what people miss. Okay? So like the client I just came from, this is an aggressive dog, and the dog was sitting on his lap, and I was touching the dog with my sleeve, and it went from ears back to lip licking, and then all of a sudden the dog bites, right? And the owner was like, whoa, where'd that come from? I'm like, well, there's all these, these precursors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, so I already knew it was going to happen, that's why I kept doing it. And then I was like, the average person is not going to know that. Right. The average person is like, oh, look at your dog, you're petting him, or whatever. Like, oh my God, you said chew with your ears back, and the next thing the dog's like, all the time, So, as his handler, that's one thing you want to be aware of. Is just when you're with him, you're enjoying your off-leash, we know he's got great impulse control, far less likely he's never going to do anything. But like, let's say he's been looking at a squirrel for 5 minutes and he's like 30 feet away from you. That 5 minutes may then go to the next step of like, now I'm going to chase.
Right.
Okay. So when I see that, like when you said earlier when you're at the beach and he was playing with all the other dogs and you thought he was getting a little too far.
Yeah.
And you called him back, that was fine. Because you're just being proactive about like, nah, I'm not too comfortable with this.
Right.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Now there is another way to handle that. So if it's just Walter, you're too far, don't follow those dogs, and you don't need them to come all the way back to you.
Yeah.
You can actually just try a low-level tap. Okay, so then what you're saying is not that far. Okay. So then he'll come in closer, but not return all the way. Okay, so one thing that can possibly happen is, like, let's say he's running with the dog, right, and he's going very far, and like, Walter, come, and he comes to you, and okay, thanks, and then break, he might
he's gonna
run.
Go back to that.
Yes, because nothing told him, don't go that far.
Right.
You just said, hey, get over here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like if I have a dog that chases squirrels and I want to stop the squirrel chasing, I wouldn't call the dog for squirrel chasing because that's just come over here. I would remote the dog for squirrel chasing. So the dog thinks if I do this,
more of a consequence.
Correct, for the behavior. Yeah. So it's super common that a thing that people do. I don't care. In your case, you have both as an option.
Yeah.
I care about it more so behaviorally, so I just want to distinguish that.
Yeah.
Because, like, let's say,
sense.
Barking out the window is super common, and people will call their dog, and they're like, oh, my dog.
But then they go back and bark.
Yeah.
Or they go back and bark.
Exactly, because nothing said don't bark out the window. That's why we don't do recall for that.
Yeah.
Okay? So, as long as you just think that way, so when you see Walter doing something and he's off leash, you just think to yourself, like, do I really need him here, or do I just need him not to go that far? you know, and then if it's not that far, I do a low level tap. Because like, let's say, you know, he's number 75, and you do like 35, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just enough to dissuade him, but not enough where he's like, oh crap, I better run the clock.
Yeah.
Okay, because if you overhit, which can happen, is you'll probably see him return all the way, like you call me, and then I don't praise him, because that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I just said, you're too far away, come in a little bit closer, okay? And you'll see, like with my dogs, I'll be walking with them, and they're running all over the place. And then if I feel like one's getting too far away from me, I just give the remote, and they'll be like on the ground, and then they just come in closer. But they'll be still on the ground. Like they've learned, like, oh, okay, I was just getting up the perimeter here. Like I don't need to return to that. Okay. And then when you need strict, tight, if you need a very specific action, like come here, then that full recall can be played. Okay. Questions about that?
No.
When you're over at the, is it Chase's parents, you said?
Yeah.
Do you practice your obedience there? Like fully off leash?
Yeah.
Good. How's it?
Good. So we were in the backyard at one point, and I was just doing like heel, like around the house, basically, in the yard, and he like wasn't. He kept like forging ahead or whatever, like excited to like be away.
Oh,
so
sure.
so I made it stronger, but then he yipped. But then he's still not listening. Like
Sure.
I feel like.
Yep,
So is he just like over? I don't know what.
Overstimulation.
Exactly
So yip doesn't always mean discomfort.
Okay.
Yip can be frustration because he doesn't want to stop what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or yip can be surprise.
Okay.
So it's not always discomfort.
Got
Now it is possible because so dog logic and human logic are very different. Okay. Dog logic. So like let's say for instance counter sermon. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a real scenario that I had with a client where their dog would I'm sorry, not counter sermon, go in the trash. Okay. Their dog would go in the trash. And they're like, yeah, that's the fastest dog and wants to be something continuous. And he still goes through the trash, right? Trash. They're like, why? I'm like, well, one, dogs are physical animals. They're used to like fighting each other and crap, so they're actually physically much more tougher than you think.
Yeah.
Two, for the dog, it may be worth even just getting their nose in there for that harsh consequence. Like they'll take the hit just to do that. And you're like, as a human, you're like, why? I'm like, because it's a dog, right? So then what we did was we did harsh consequence for even looking at the trash can, and then everything stopped because the dog couldn't even get there. You know.
Yeah.
So
there was no. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's like when people, you know, when they decide to like rob somebody, like I would think there's some kind of rationale of like, is this worth it? And to them, for whatever reason, it's worth it.
Yeah.
The potential, like I'm going to get arrested, go to jail, or go to prison,
Right.
right? So it's the same thing for the dog, but their logic is much more simpler than ours. You know, because the dog is like, yeah, sure, I got blasted on 127, but it's not like a dog bite, you know. But then once we made it where like you can't even look at the trash can, all of a sudden the dog was like, all right, well that wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, that's not out of the ordinary. What's the highest you went with that?
I think it was still like under 90.
Okay, and were you turning when you did those taps? Like when you tapped them, because he was forging, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
That may be another potential reason. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you remote and turn, you're going not that way, we're going this way.
Yeah.
So he redirects. Okay.
Yeah.
If he does this and you remote to get him here without the turnaround, dogs don't connect. It was for this because you're going the same direction. So he jumps back and he's like, oh, that cool.
Yeah.
Because you're moving the same way still, right? But if you remote him and he goes, oh, you're that way now, and he has to address that and then fix himself to you, that makes more of a connection, okay? And that's also super common. Whenever clients will say like, oh, my dog is still forging, and I'll tell them, you tapping? They're like, yeah. Are you raising them? They go, yeah. And then I go, it's either, are you shortening the leash too much, or are you turning? And it's one of those two things. Okay? Anything else with this guy?
No.
Good. So he's holding all this pretty good. We're going to do a quick warm-up, and then if you want, we can maybe take him more over there, or if you want to work over here, fully off leash. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever you're comfortable with, no matter to me.
Convulsing.
Have you worked him with like the squirrels and stuff though?
I mean, as best I can.
Sure. Is there anything around?
The most we see them is here. I should come here more often.
Sure. Here, over by Diversity in the golf range, east of Lakeview.
That's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna do that, but then we went to the beach instead.
Or like, were you at Montrose Dog Beach?
No, we were just at North Avenue.
Did you have dogs there?
Yeah, no.
But there were dogs there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after we got off, this bird's getting close. You don't even care. After we got off, like just because we were done being in the sand and everything, then lifeguards came up and like kicked people off the beach, even like just people. We weren't allowed to be on the beach at all. And I was
really?
Like, oh well.
Oh, you beat the.
Yeah. Which Maddie told me could happen, but she takes rudder out there.
Oh, really?
She's like, sometimes they're not there.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, what are you doing? It's not like you're saving people. Like, no one's allowed.
Right. No one was like in the water, really. But
Yeah.
Whatever.
Interesting. So, like, let's say you take them there again, or like, you know, Montrose Dog Beach, whatever.
Yeah.
You can also practice there.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, if you're technically at a dog park and you're like, you know, Walter Tom in the heel with no leash, he's supposed to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, that's one thing that we were doing with. I don't know if you saw Pepper. She's in a Daycare training right now.
Mm-hmm.
Enrique was posting videos of like she was in a sit stay and
Yeah.
like doing a heel through like the play area.
Yeah.
She like had to do what the dog was doing
Right.
there.
I do remember that.
You know, and then she asked to stay there. You can use it to your advantage because you're in an enclosed area. If you have to escalate and he breaks position, we're not worried about is he going
Yeah, getting out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the biggest thing in the beginning. Because once you go full off leash, like in an environment where it's like, whoa, this is a bit much,
Mm-hmm.
it can be a little bit like for the person to get like, really
Right.
But
A lot of anxiety. I suppose.
not having that physical connection. But that's where all the weeks of practice and like transitioning and all that stuff. Like that's what develops your confidence in the camera.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll go to harass these squirrels here a bit,
Okay.
and we'll go through our repertoire. So we have heel, stay, recall, down, sit, no place.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do a warm up and then we'll take them off leash.
Heel through there.
Yeah, heel towards it, and then you can like put him in a stay, then release him, see how he does with the freedom. You can go into a recall from whatever he's doing
Okay.
into a heel, you know, like interchangeably.
Got it.
You got it.
I'll leave myself here. Heel.
Good, now turn. He ran off.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right in front of me. Yeah, he was. That was
What was your number now?
I jumped up to 100
Good. Okay. Now, so he felt the 100.
because I hit it on 75 and he did nothing. He kept going.
Sure. So then you get 100. He yipped, but then he immediately went 80s.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I take into account. Okay, because in an emergency setting, you're going to be up there,
Right.
right? And if he does anything, okay, without any words, it should always be return.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So now you go back. Let's go to like if you're at 75, we'll go down to 80,
Okay.
and then heel. Good. Keep forward. Tap. Is he on the wrong side? Go ahead and lower it. Let's go down to 45. And keep forward. There you go. Good. So what can happen here is with that 100, excuse me?
I said he flipped sides like twice.
Okay.
Came around.
Is that 100? If you shut down that interest completely, then he's going to be more receptive. Turn, tap. There you go.
To all levels?
There you go.
Because this is 45. And
Yes, and you see how sensitive he is to it,
Yeah.
right? So if that happens, because when you did 100, we went down to 80, because I'm still thinking like from before
interest.
how driven he was,
Yeah.
right? And then still too much. Then you go to 45, and it's still too much. But I was just gonna point out before you look, he's still looking or was still looking at that squirrel.
Yeah.
He just happened to deter right now. Okay. So then I look at what happened after the fact. You took off. I hit you on 100, right? And then I think that second yip I didn't catch you. Was he forging?
He was on the wrong side.
And you tapped him to get him on the correct side. Okay. And then I said go down to 45. Right. And then you tapped him, I think, again for forging here.
Yeah.
Okay.
He came all the way around.
Come around to the correct side, right? So you're just being very strict with what we've taught.
Yeah.
Okay. Because going directly towards the stimulus
Yeah.
is like the most challenging thing
Right.
for a guy like Walter because of that drive. So I use it to my advantage. Okay. Him making mistakes is how they learn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like with dogs, it's not like a kid where it's like, look, we're gonna walk towards the store. Whatever you do, don't charge ahead of me. Stay at my side, and the kid can do that.
Yeah.
Not Walter. Okay. Walter's like, okay, I've been told to heel, but I see that squirrel and I really want to chase it. Right? Is he technically has to perform the behavior, and then the correction comes into play, and then he's like, okay, that didn't work out the way I thought it was, and he comes back. And he's like, all right, cool. Now I know if I give in to that desire or temptation, 100 happens. Okay?
Yeah.
That's how dogs learn.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's just a repetition. Now let's say we do this again, right? We're repeating this, and then I might come back and wait, and I'll still be facing towards whatever it is. Break. Then you go.
Yeah.
Okay? And you might see hesitation. And you might have like, break, and like kind of coach him along. Because he's thinking, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are
last
you
time
sure?
I did this,
Because last time it was 100, right?
Yeah.
That's normal. That, in my opinion, is good.
Yeah, he'll do that when I do let him chase squirrels. He's like, are you sure? Because I have told him no. The remote before, so I've seen that.
So then you just go, yeah, like, yes, you can now. So then you're really just making it clear for him, look, buddy, when you're heel, sit down, stay, place, come, whatever, you're doing that. But the moment I say break, and you can go towards something, you can have at it, okay? Let's try it again. Roll in over here. Just be mindful of the street.
Go towards it?
Yeah. Heel.
Heel. About 45 though.
About 35. Yeah, straight to it. Straight to it. Good. He knows it's there. There you go. Good. Now forward. Just straight forward here. Tap forward. There you go. Because now his leash is caught around that tree. So now I'm using that lag as a distraction because that tension, exactly. Okay. Because it'll confuse dogs. They'll feel the tension and they'll think like, oh crap, am I supposed to hold back? And it's like, no, you're on that hip. Okay. So that's good. Go ahead and pivot. And it's come to a stop. Very good. Now, I don't know if you noticed just how kind of paranoid he's. Like everything now is kind of like bumpy, right? Because is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? It's normal. That stuff will fix itself. Okay.
It's because that was like the first time that's ever happened.
Having to bump it,
Where like he was, just like totally taken off, basically.
Sure. And I missed it because I was looking at like to see if your receiver here. And then I just hear the yip. I'm like, what's going on? You're like, he ran off. I'm like, oh crap.
No, that's okay. I just was like, did you see that? Like,
so yeah, that's how that stuff works. Okay. So now it's doing this, but repeatedly. Okay. So like you said, like coming here would be a good place to train or whatever. And then you bring them here. You just make it part of like the routine or whatever. And it's like walking towards a squirrel. And then I would probably already have it at 100, so there's not even a delay. So like let's say he did take off again. Yeah. Instead of catching him at the spot, because remember the dog earlier? The dog would be at the trash can before they would 127 continuous, and the dog would still keep doing it. Right. Because it was worth the hit to get that call. The moment we did the consequence prior, then it was not worth it, right? So for Walter, if I'm walking towards a squirrel and I go 100, and right when I'm walking and he goes off and I catch him 2 feet into it, then he's like, holy crap. Yeah. Then he thinks the next time, I couldn't even get 2 feet closer before the hit came in. Not worth it. trying
Yeah.
to risk it the entire way. Does that make sense?
Right. But I did tap him lower.
Yeah,
And
then
he
you
was
got
on the way. It didn't
yes.
like effective.
And you went from 75 to 100 fairly quick, but he got to the tree
Yeah.
even quicker. And
Right.
that's something that people don't think about. When I'll tell them, like, if your dog is running towards the street, that happens very fast.
Yeah.
That you're having to go up on that collar. I don't sit there and
I honestly didn't even look.
No. Well, I don't
I
either.
just kind of like moved it. What I like after playing with this, I know about how quickly it moves up when
Correct.
you rotate it.
Yeah.
So I
That's
just
what
moved
I
it
do.
a distance.
Is I just twist it and I hit the button,
Yeah.
or I'll just turn it up, because I know worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to get a yip.
Yeah.
That's it. But if I've done all my conditioning, the dog's going to prefer. So anytime that kind of impulsiveness kicks into play, what I do is I just start remoting at what I'm at, because it may happen where it's like you're at 35, and, oh crap, I need to turn.
Yeah.
All right, cool, I can pick up the pressure. But I'm already, as I'm tapping, because that will adjust as you turn it.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so if you're at 75, the first hit, by the time you lift up your thumb and press down again, you're at 100, it's going to go to 100.
Yeah.
Okay? So I always pick up the pressure immediately, as I'm intending to go up, but I kick in at where I'm at just in case I can stop it there. Otherwise, I don't waste that second, trying to get to the number first,
Yeah.
So that was good. At least for you, like just getting used to like doing that as your immediate response,
Yeah.
as opposed to like, what do I do here? Can I see?
Yeah.
Because that happens all the time. Okay. Let's go ahead and down them.
Down. Down. Can you talk to me?
Yeah, and then just step away. So this is good. With the higher hit, one thing that I was anticipating is he'd want to glue to you. Because he's thinking, yo, I got hit on 100 just for leaving you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to really stick close to you because that's what he's thinking is correct. So then I start to switch to the other things. Going back to earlier, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you're walking towards the tree, right? And he ran off. You 100 remote.
Yeah.
He went towards you, and I think you issued a come. Is that correct? I think you said come. And the correct way to correct it, okay, is if I was in a heel, then I keep my movement as a heel.
Yeah.
To redirect him to that and then go on. Okay, so that he knows it was for breaking that position. So the next time
issuing a new
command, right? Because then he might think like, holy crap, that hunter was because she called me, not because I broke off of the leg during a heel command. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
yeah, I don't even remember what it is.
Yeah. It's usually people's instinct is typically like always call a dog. At the end of the day, I'm just like, whatever, it's a small little thing. But I just think about if we practice that regularly, then that's when the confusion kicks in, right? If it's on the off occasion where it's like, oh crap, Walter, like get over here, right? Yeah. And you issue it, I'm like whatever, because it's not being practiced to a degree that it'll build a bad habit. It's just making sure when we're practicing this continuously to build his reliability, we're not doing that on a regular basis, because then he's not going to think chasing the scroll is wrong. It was about the recall. Okay. So let's go ahead and pick it back up. Let's go ahead and put him in a sit from that position. Very good. And then you'll walk away. He's supposed to stay put. Turn. Yep, that's fine. Now walk towards him here. Tap. Tap. Hold right there. Now back away. Towards him. Tap. Forward. Tap. 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 Hold right there. Now step away. Forward. Tap. Tap. Forward. Tap. Hold right there. Step away. Yep. Towards. Tap. Hold right there. Tap. Let's go down to 25. Step away. Towards. Tap. There you go. Step away. Towards. Tap. Step away. There you go. Okay. Yes. So what we're doing here is clarifying stuff. Okay. So the down was easy, right? Lay down, walk, wing up front. Then I go put them in the sit. Hop in the sit, and then either tried to lay down, like that's not going to put you.
Yeah.
But then he started doing what I said earlier.
Yeah.
That he started following.
Right.
Okay.
Which I've practiced down and moving away from him. I don't practice putting him in a sit because usually it's an auto sit and he needs to stay. So I haven't even.
Sure. Yeah.
I haven't practiced that.
We started making this more complex simply how we interchange the behaviors.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I had a client, we were doing the stay and walking away, the dog was great, right?
Yeah.
And then we did the downs and the sits, and then I said, put your dog in the sit. And she did it, and when she moved away, the dog was following her.
Yeah.
And she's like, why is it, because the stay from the heel and the sit look exactly the same.
Right.
But to the dog, they're two different things.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I was like, that's why we have to clarify everything. So here,
Yeah, I've never thought of this.
when you put them in that sitting position and you move away, when dogs move towards the owner, typically if you move in, as you tap, it'll push them down, typically, okay? But he also has to think or distinguish between recall, okay? Because he's at a distance, his default response is probably I need to go back to mom, right? Especially now after the heavier hit earlier. All these things are things that are going on in his head. So that's why when I do this stuff, I like taking advantage of these things. Because that's what I'm feeling like, look, like, yeah, you guys have 100, you're with me, we're good, it's in the past. Now you stay put, now you don't move. And now you don't give into that whole, like, cautiousness of sticking to you. Now it's stay put. So then, when you're walking towards him, I was just trying to get you to keep up in the general area. Okay? So, like, if I, sit Walter here, and I go to walk away, and he's following me, and I tap him, and he sits here, and I walk away, here and there is a very big distance.
Yeah.
So I keep tapping, and I would bring him back this general area. He puts his butt down, and then I'm going to walk away. And then repeat that process. So it doesn't keep perfect, okay? It needs to be general area. So then by the fourth or fifth time, it finally stuck in his head of like, oh, okay, like, don't move. Stay in this position. As my mom said. Okay? Go ahead and come back to him. Praise him. Good. And you're going to step away again? Very good. Now, I told you about not calling from stationary positions, right? Okay. So what I would do here is you can come next to him, pop him into a heel, or give him a release. Okay, whichever you want to do.
Break.
Good. Right, so now, so he's kind of cautious, right?
Yeah.
So if we release him, play it now. But you can see that caution.
Yeah. He's like, she's moving.
Yeah. So I ignore this because it's not what you're wanting.
Right.
You're trying to build the comfort of like, hey, bud. Thanks for the break. You're free to go. Okay. So all this is fine. Just keep ignoring them, and I'm just using the leash to my advantage. But as soon as I drop it, he's thinking. Best place to be is with mom. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to play with Walter, and then randomly you'll just pop him into your brother. Okay? Yeah, put on that. Very good. Very good. Now, go ahead and do your side steps.
So with a come, he shouldn't come. Are you wanting him to not move?
No, now, so, because he's in a recall.
Right.
Right? That's the last thing you've issued. So now, do you remember the side step of just moving backwards?
Yeah.
So unless you say stay.
Got it. That's what I was thinking earlier. Okay.
Gotcha.
This is what I was saying. I've done in a...
Tap, 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 tap. Start to move back. Tap, 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 tap. Keep going. Keep going. Tap, tap, tap. Good. What's the number now? Okay. I'm going to don't. So like let's say you're working with Chase,
Yeah.
you might find him do that. Okay?
Right.
Where he gets confused and he goes to the other person. Okay? So you stepped away, you started remoting, for whatever reason it is. That's it. Okay?
Yeah.
This is proof of it. Okay? So then if that happens to Chase, then I use my puzzle.
Yeah.
That would be and I'm running towards the okay? But you're doing what you're doing. Because you corrected just like anything else.
Yeah.
Like you corrected just like the tool thing, right?
Right.
Is you're trying to make it more clear as quickly as possible so that
But then every time that I hit it, once you actually let go, he turned around and went
so you're trying to make sure Jesse has
No.
nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's me. Okay?
Right.
So
Which I do see him get confused about between when there's like these with both.
right, and I was
Like
gonna
one of you is fine. I'll be back.
and you always want to clarify that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know it's you and Chase.
Yeah.
Right, which is his family.
Right.
But for him, in this setting, if he's like, well, when I'm with mom and dad, any answer is the right answer, then when we're here,
Yeah.
that same psychology is okay.
Right.
And it's like, no, not any person has the right answer. Okay? Because I think you mentioned it before with like, when you were with friends.
Yeah. When we were walking, he would just go with, like closest to anybody.
Yes. Yes.
Still.
Sure. You always want to, very black and white, I'm the one that said it, dad's the one that said it, that's what you do it for. Okay?
Right. So if Chase called him, but I had the remote, but I remote for him.
Correct. He doesn't know what's coming from.
Right.
Chase just has to be.
Right, and be the one walking away or the one that help him.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. So he just has to do that stuff, and then you should look for him. He doesn't,
No, right.
like dogs can learn that the remote has something to do with it, but I've had only cats that the dog remote, they go after the remote.
It's more the collie. He sees that.
Yeah, especially after today, huh, buddy? But now it's, taking what you've learned. His obedience is good, but now it's these little things that
Right.
Most people don't think happen that happen all the time. Okay, so we're gonna try that again. I liked when you did the recall, the speed was good, turned away fairly quickly. It was just a sidestep. Okay. So we're gonna try that again. When you give him the recall, a note, because I heard you, but I heard you very faintly because of like the kids over here.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Walter, come.
Very good. Now go ahead and try the side steps again. Good. Good. Better. Good. Now here. What you're gonna do here is now go into a stay.
Stay.
Now step away. There you go.
I trust him with those more than I do with like staying in
So here, conflicting behaviors from come to me, follow,
Yeah.
stay, right? So right there is a very big jump in terms of what we're doing, exact expectations. So that tells you just exactly how clear that stay is to him.
Yeah.
So then if I know that this is really good, because you even said it right now, like I trust him more with this than I do the heels, then what does that tell us?
Do more of the heels.
Exactly. More of the heels towards squirrels or whatever it is. More of the sits to the moving away, right? Because now that's the stuff
that is the stuff I haven't done as much.
Yes. So now I start to shift things. So, I still practice this, but if I know if you spot on with it, and the downs, you're like, yeah, downs are easy too, then you still do them every now and then as you work with the other stuff. And then once you feel like everything is on the same page, then you start to use everything interchangeably however you want.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's go ahead and go back to a side. Good. We'll go ahead and then what you can do here is that we talk about you don't always have to heel him like that, right?
Yeah. You're facing this way though. I want to turn around.
So let's try heeling with them on the other side. Up, tap. There you go. There you go. Good. And then heel. Yeah, just a regular heel. We'll walk real quick through these trees. We'll do another recall after you do this. Okay, so just heel real quick. Walking through. Tap, 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 tap. There you go. Good. Tree. Good turn. Very good.
I can never turn left.
Turn left.
He always is cutting me off.
There he is. Good. Cutting you off forging wise?
Yeah.
Number.
I just don't slow down enough, probably.
Possibly, or the number. Because right now he's right. He's just behind that left leg, which would make a left turn very easy right now. Okay.
I think he's just scared, like you said, in general, but usually he's not as this far back.
Yeah, because there was 100 earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
The number.
And ideally, I don't want that number, right? I would have wanted maybe I know you're at 75 earlier, which is good.
Right.
I think last week we were at 80.
80, yeah.
So if I'm at 75 and no, this isn't like when it was at 100. I don't go to 100. I go to 80. Right? Still not 100. Then I go to 83 because you're getting closer to it, so my increments become smaller. And then maybe at the 83, all of a sudden it's that balance of caution of oh, okay, I don't want to press this threshold, but not be crap. What was that? Okay. And there's pros to that too. Just going to realistically speaking, I don't ever want him to do. Okay, so there's the consequence of that. So that's the positive. The con is now he's more so in a fear state of holy crap, right? It all goes away.
Yeah.
And so it's the balance of trying not to be yipping, creating caution without fear, and then reliable and well-positioned obedience. But life is not black and white. It's never going to be that perfect. Even when I train dogs, I'm in my head going, okay, too much, too little, and all of a sudden the dog yips. It's not just whatever, it is what it is, right? Yeah. But I just keep working through it, keep practicing, and the dog goes, okay, cool, okay? You want to take them off the leash?
Yeah.
All right. Now this is going to be the hard part. I'll have you go through all the easy stuff. More heel, into a stay, walk around, come back, praise, walk away again, come back, heel, come to a pause, heel again, pause, into a down. Okay? And I'll tell you again if you forget.
Okay. Just walk around.
Yeah, just heel, just do the trees, all that stuff.
Okay. Heel.
Tap, tap. Good. Very good. Tap, 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 tap. And what I have you do is pivot and go off that way. Tap, 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 tap. Tap. Good. Good. And what's your number now?
60.
Okay. Very good. And then walk with him kind of like right here. And then you'll put him in that stay. Good. Then you'll come back, praise. Good boy. Walk away, he stays. What's that? No,
Oh.
what's that?
I said he just looks so dopey.
Oh. Now back into the heel. Any way you like.
And then walk again. Heel.
Good. Excellent. Good. And then towards me. Actually, walk past me on my left here. Good. And then slow to a stop. Tap. Keep forward. There you go. Then come to a stop. Good. And then you're going to pause for a second. A short heel, just a few steps.
Do I have to tell him again?
Technically, no, because you issued it once.
I always do. I just didn't know. I'm asking for myself.
So once you've cued heel, it's in effect until you release.
Right. Tell him
Give a stay, right?
Yeah.
So if you move forward that left leg, it still applies to the heel you said earlier.
I just never knew. I always do that.
I always repeat myself,
Yeah.
but technically you don't have to.
Heel.
Good, and then slow to stop. Good, and then you're going to go into a down.
Down.
Wait a moment, yep.
Down.
Then wait, tap, wait, tap, wait, tap. It's okay, wait a moment. Tap. Good. Wait, tap. Wait, good. Let him settle. Now you're going to move backwards. He stays put. Good. Okay. So, do you know why I was saying wait, tap, wait a moment?
To see what happens, or I don't know.
Yes.
Because he looks like he's thinking about doing it, but he's just like, he
Yes.
goes for it and then doesn't do it.
So think of the tap as another way you're saying down without saying the word, right? So you cued it, you tap, and then you got some shuffling,
Yeah.
but then he didn't do it. Then we tap, shuffling, then he didn't do it. Tap, he went into it, but then pop back up.
Yeah.
So when I say tap, wait a moment, is when he's fidgeting, he's thinking, what am I supposed to do? So then I wait for the fidgeting to stop, because that means he thinks that's what I'm supposed to do. Then we kicked in again.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, let's say Walter was in a down, and you said sit, and you tapped him, and he like rolled around, and then stopped. Tap, roll around, stop, tap, roll around, sit up, down again, right? Tap, because you're going. He's thinking, is this it?
Yeah.
And you go, no, no, right? Without repeating it. So then he has to think through it. Everybody like goes to the collar, they go to touch the dog to help them, and they go, no. He's thinking of what to do, he just doesn't know what to do yet. Verification. That's why I was like, wait, until we complete it. And then I saw he went down, then he rolled on his hip, and I said, okay, now you move back.
Yeah.
Okay. So all this stuff is normal. Okay, the stuff you see all the time that we always work the dog through. And that's why I always tell people it's best if you train your own dogs because you learn so much more. Because this stuff still happens. Like he's a dog. Like they're not like us where we can learn the skill and just do it. So if you don't know how to fix it, then you're stuck.
Yeah.
And then I get it as a business. People bring their dogs back to get fixed, and then it's the same shit over again. And I'm just like, I don't want to see your dog again. They're trained. You know what to do. If it's an emergency or something, of course you can always come back, right? But that's how I approach my job. Is if I've trained your dog well enough, you really shouldn't, or you and your dog well enough, you don't need me anymore. You're able to just get things done and figure it out and problem solving, right? So when you work with him, just a couple of things here that we're doing, and you're seeing the stuff that he's really good at versus the stuff that we know works well. Okay. Questions about this so far? So let's come to a side. We're going to give him some praise. One thing that he's struggling with is the heel from a stationary position. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Right? Tap. Wait a moment. Keep where you're at. Tap. Wait a moment. Tap. Tap. Wait. Tap. Wait. There it is. Now. Up. Tap. Wait. You got it. You got it. Let him figure it out. Tap. Wait a moment. Tap. Tap. Wait. Yep. Tap. Tap. He shifted the collar a little bit. It's fine. Tap. There it is. Good. Okay. So, little things like that, as cute as they are. Okay. Still breaking.
Frustrating.
Breaking obedience, right?
Yeah.
We reinforce it all the time. Okay. But can you see the difference now when I said we tap and he's thinking, and then he thinks, okay, this is what it is, and then no, that's wrong too.
Yeah.
How eventually he gets it.
Yeah.
And you did like 5 to 6. And then the first time it was like maybe 8 to 10.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Less.
Yeah.
It's still a lot.
Yeah. But that's where, when you do this repeatedly, it becomes just one tap. And he goes right back into it super quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, all my clients, I always see them try to reset the dog, leash him up, or whatever. And I go, no. Make him think through it. You're learning yourself how to read Walter with, like, is he going to do it on this one? No. Keep that pressure on until he gets it. You can see he's got the concept because ultimately he did it.
Yeah.
Okay. When you were down more in his level, it was more distracting.
It was harder.
Because he wanted to lick your face.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. As dog logic. Okay?
Right.
You work them through it. Okay? Let's try the heel, and I'm going to have you pivot off that way.
So go around?
So you can actually just turn to your right.
And then just go down?
Like that, yeah. So correct this. Right, wait a moment, this is okay. Right, just wait. I'll have you correct this one, yep. There it is. Faster. Okay, wait, yep. Good, faster, very good. We're gonna wait a moment. Go ahead and turn to your right again. There you go. Now heel.
Heel.
Tap. Very good. Go on left turn. Good one. Try speeding up. Good. Good turn. Very good. Slow to a stop. Okay, cool. Right. So, what I would do now is when you practice, find or areas where it's safe to practice really off leash.
Right.
Earlier, when he made that mistake, he ran the knee again. Pro was faster direction time. It didn't take as long as the last time.
Right.
Right. Because he already had
when you
foundation.
set them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing was, because of the direction you're going, I go straight here, right? Because you're doing it correct. You're like, I'm going to keep moving this way, right? And I said, instead, shift it and go that way, which was, it was the wrong side, but I go, do I want him running towards the street, or do I want him running towards the person towards the playground, right?
Yeah.
As I'm still using that with caution until I go, we've worked through a lot of stuff, and I'm confident in the dog and my ability to, that they're going to return and not like, keep going and then go into like the street or whatever. Okay, so just so now I would suggest working on the you get down them, do a walk away, come back, come in the sit, and try the walk away again.
Yeah.
Correct that. Doing heels from the stationary positions. It's very common because since he's in this kind of like passive I don't move mode, then when you start moving, there's a delay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's normal. You keep walking. I would slow down a bit, so that in case there's a delay in this part, if you're a fast walker and he's still delaying, and then you're 20 feet from your dog and he's fully off leash, that's why I go enclosed area, right? Because then I'm not worried about that kind of stuff. But I can at least do a couple of things that if I say heel and start walking away from the delaying, if I slow down my speed, I'm only going to be 5 to 6 feet away as opposed to 20 feet away. Because you always want to account for that stuff. Let me think here. So the sits, the heels from stationary positions, walking towards squirrels, releasing them back to whatever it is that you call them from to use that to your advantage. Now, if he's going to be fully off leash, now you can't force him, right? You can't make him return with the leash. What I would do is, if the right here, the squirrel comes right here with Walter while we're doing it. So when I issue the recall, I might just be 3 to 4 feet away because I'm making it that much harder. So I'm going to make this easier for me and for him by being much closer. And then once I can call him off the squirrels and wait, go back at it again, start to work your way back to the distance that we know he's capable of. But if you try to do it off the squirrels with no leash that far, it might be hard for him to get that. Okay, so being closer helps them pick up on that faster. Okay, so those are the things that I would focus on. Questions for me? In terms, so you have, I think, is this number 8? Yeah, 9, right? So you can do a couple things here. You can take some time, practice all this stuff. Yeah. And then see if you hit any plateaus on anything or maybe there's anything that's confusing stuff. And then we use that last session to tighten everything up. Yeah. Otherwise, if you want to see each other in a week again, I don't care. Yeah. But at this point,
no, I feel like a longer between period makes sense.
Sure. Then we'll just let Maria know. Yeah. And then when you're ready, just give us a shout and we'll set it up.
At like whatever time for whatever week, I like when time and I contact them. Because then I feel like I should bring Chase.
Oh yeah, sure.
And just kind of see what other things.
Yeah, or I can see like, let's say you feel really good. You're like, yeah, Jesse's doing everything great with you. Right. And then I can see what Chase knows, and then how well he knows it, essentially, and then help kind of correct anything that's really important.
He needs more training at this point. So,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's not a problem. For me, there's no time limit. I'm like, take.
Expire.
Yeah, because you got to go somewhere, you got to practice, and what if you go and there's nothing going on?
Right, and that's why I feel like week to week it's hard to come up with these circumstances naturally.
Right, yeah. So yeah, I had no problem with that. So I remember giving Maria know, and then whenever you're ready, just give her a shout.
Okay.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Good job. You're not in trouble, buddy. Don't forget your